Most people think wealth is about luck, finding the right job at the right time, being born into the right family, meeting the right person who opens the right door. They look at billionaires and think they got lucky. Right place, right time. Wrong. Naval Ravikant built a fortune worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He didn't inherit it. He didn't win the lottery. He didn't get lucky. He understood something that most people never learn. And here's what makes it even more interesting. He says anyone can do what he did. Not everyone will, but anyone can. The difference between people who build real wealth and people who spend their entire lives working for money is not intelligence. It's not connections. It's not even hard work. It's understanding one fundamental truth about how wealth actually works. In 2018, Naval published a series of tweets called How to Get Rich Without Getting Lucky. It went viral instantly. Millions of people read it. Thousands of people changed their lives because of it. Because it revealed the exact playbook for building wealth in the modern world. No inheritance required. No lottery ticket needed. Just knowledge, strategy, and execution. In this video, we're breaking down that playbook step by step. Let's begin. Naval Ravikant is not your typical Silicon Valley success story. He wasn't born into wealth. He immigrated to the United States from India when he was 9 years old. His family had nothing. He grew up in New York City, in a neighborhood where most kids didn't dream about building companies. They dreamed about survival. But Naval was different. He was obsessed with reading, philosophy, economics, science. He taught himself how the world works. Not from school, from books, from thinking deeply about systems and incentives. And by the time he was in his 20s, he had a theory. Wealth creation is not random. It's a skill, a learnable skill. He co-founded a company called ePinions in the late 90s. It eventually went public. That gave him his first taste of real wealth. Not salary, equity, ownership. Then he became an angel investor. He invested early in companies like Twitter, Uber, Yammer, and dozens of others that became unicorns. But what really changed everything was AngelList. He co-founded it in 2010. It became the platform that connected startups with investors. It democratized access to startup investing. And it made Naval one of the most influential people in Silicon Valley. But here's what makes Naval different from every other investor and entrepreneur. He doesn't just build wealth. He thinks deeply about why wealth works the way it does. And he shares it, openly, for free. In 2018, he published a tweet storm. 40 tweets. No fluff. Just pure concentrated wisdom. The title, How to Get Rich Without Getting Lucky. It wasn't clickbait. It was a blueprint, a step-by-step guide to building wealth in the modern economy. And it challenged everything society teaches us. Society says, go to school, get good grades, find a stable job, work for 40 years, save 10% of your income, retire at 65. Maybe you'll be comfortable. Maybe. Naval says, that's not wealth. That's survival. Real wealth is different. Real wealth means you wake up every day and you choose what to do with your time. You're not dependent on a paycheck. You're not trading hours for dollars. You own assets that generate value while you sleep. That's freedom. That's wealth. And the best part? Naval believes this is accessible to anyone. You don't need a trust fund. You don't need an Ivy League degree. You don't need to know the right people. You need to understand the game. And then you need to play it differently than everyone else. That's what this video is about. We're going to break down the core principles from Naval's philosophy. Not theory, not motivation, actual strategy. The kind of strategy that changes how you think about work, money, and life. So let's dive into the first principle, the one that most people get completely wrong. Naval says, seek wealth, not money or status. Wealth is having assets that earn while you sleep. Money is how we transfer time and wealth. Status is your place in the social hierarchy. Most people spend their entire lives confusing these three things. They think if they make more money, they'll be wealthy. They think if they get a promotion and a fancy title, they've made it. But they're playing the wrong game. Let's break this down. Money is a tool. It's a medium of exchange. You trade your time and skills for money. Then you trade that money for goods and services. But here's the problem. If you stop working, the money stops coming. You're on a treadmill. You can run faster. You can get a higher salary. But you're still running. And the moment you stop, everything stops. Status is even more dangerous. Status is what society rewards you with when you play by its rules. A big title, a corner office, a luxury car, designer clothes. But status is a game you can never win. Because it's relative. There's always someone with a bigger title, a bigger house, a more expensive watch. You're competing in a game where the finish line keeps moving. And worse, status is rented. The moment you stop playing the game, you lose it. Wealth is different. Wealth is ownership. Wealth means you own assets that generate value without your constant involvement. A business that runs without you. Intellectual property that pays royalties. Investments that compound. Software that serves customers while you sleep. That's wealth. Think about a doctor. A highly skilled surgeon can make $500,000 a year. That's great money. But is it wealth? No. Because the moment that surgeon stops operating, the income stops. The surgeon is trading time for money at a very high rate. But it's still a trade. There's a ceiling. There are only so many hours in a day. Now think about someone who builds a software product. Maybe a simple app. Maybe a tool that solves a specific problem. They build it once. It takes 6 months. Maybe a year. But once it's built, it can serve 10 customers. Or 10,000. Or 10 million. The income isn't tied to hours worked. It's tied to value created. That's wealth. Naval made most of his fortune not from his salary. Not from working long hours. He made it from equity. Ownership. He owned pieces of companies. And when those companies grew, his wealth grew. He didn't have to work more hours. He didn't have to trade more time. The assets did the work. This is the fundamental shift that most people never make. They optimize for money. They negotiate higher salaries. They work overtime. They chase bonuses. But they never build assets. They never own anything. And because of that, they never build real wealth. Naval's point is simple. If you want to be wealthy, stop chasing money and status. Start building assets. Start owning things that work for you. Because wealth isn't about how much you earn. It's about what you own. And what you own determines whether you're free or whether you're stuck on the treadmill forever. So the question is, what are you building that will earn while you sleep? So you understand that wealth comes from ownership, from building assets. But here's the next question. How do you actually build those assets? How do you create something that scales beyond your own time and effort? Naval's answer, leverage. He says, you're not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own equity, a piece of a business. But even ownership isn't enough if you're doing everything yourself. You need to multiply your efforts. You need leverage. Naval identifies 4 types of leverage. Labor, capital, code, media. Let's start with the old forms of leverage, labor and capital. Labor means people working for you. You hire employees. You build a team. They execute your vision while you focus on strategy. This is how businesses scaled for centuries. Henry Ford didn't build every car himself. He had thousands of workers doing it. That's labor leverage. But here's the problem. Labor is expensive. It requires management. It requires permission. You need to convince people to work for you. You need to pay them. You need to deal with all the complexity of human relationships. Capital means money working for you. You raise funding. You invest in assets. You use other people's money to build something bigger than you could alone. This is how real estate investors scale. How venture capitalists scale. But capital also requires permission. You need to convince investors to give you money. You need to give up equity or pay interest. And if you don't have a track record, good luck getting capital. So labor and capital are powerful, but they have a huge barrier to entry. You need permission. You need resources. You need credibility. But then Naval talks about the new forms of leverage. Code and media. And this is where everything changes. Code means software. You write it once. It runs forever. It can serve 1 person or 1 billion people with almost the same cost. Think about Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg and a small team built a platform that now serves billions of users. That's code leverage. You don't need to hire 1 million employees. You write the code. The code does the work. Media means content. Podcasts, videos, books, articles. You create it once. It reaches millions. And it costs you almost nothing to distribute. This video you're watching right now? That's media leverage. 1 person created it. Thousands or millions can watch it. No permission needed. No investors required. Here's why this is revolutionary. Code and media are permissionless leverage. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need a boss to say yes. You don't need a bank to fund you. You just need a laptop and an internet connection. You can build software that changes the world from your bedroom. You can create content that reaches millions from your phone. Naval built AngelList with a small team and massive code leverage. A handful of engineers built a platform that connected thousands of startups with thousands of investors. They didn't need a massive workforce. They didn't need billions in capital. They had code. And that's the opportunity today. You can learn to code. You can learn to create content. You can build leverage that doesn't require permission. You can build something once and let it work for you forever. The question is, what leverage are you building? Are you still trading time for money? Or are you building something that scales? Okay, so you need to build assets. You need leverage. But here's the problem. Everyone knows this now. Everyone wants to build a startup. Everyone wants to create content. Everyone wants to code. So how do you stand out? How do you avoid competing with a million other people doing the exact same thing? Naval's answer: specific knowledge. He says, arm yourself with specific knowledge, accountability, and leverage. Specific knowledge is knowledge that you cannot be trained for. If society can train you, it can train someone else and replace you. Let me say that again. If you can learn it in school, if you can get certified in it, if there's a standard curriculum for it, then it's not specific knowledge. It's general knowledge. And general knowledge is commoditized. It's competitive. It's a race to the bottom. Specific knowledge is different. It's unique to you. It's built through your genuine curiosity and passion. It's the thing you're obsessed with that other people find boring. It's the weird combination of skills and interests that only you have. Naval says, specific knowledge feels like play to you, but looks like work to others. That's the key. If it feels like work to you, you're probably competing with people who are naturally good at it. But if it feels like play, if you do it for free, if you lose track of time when you're doing it, that's your edge. Here's an example. Naval's specific knowledge is understanding startups, technology, and investing at a deep philosophical level. He didn't learn that in business school. He built it by reading thousands of books, by starting companies, by making investments, by thinking deeply about systems and incentives. Nobody taught him that. He taught himself. And because of that, he became irreplaceable. Think about someone like Joe Rogan. His specific knowledge is having long-form conversations with interesting people. That's not something you can get a degree in. It's a combination of curiosity, communication skills, and the ability to make people comfortable. He built it over decades. And now he is one of the biggest podcasts in the world. Or think about someone who understands consumer psychology and viral content. They didn't learn that from a textbook. They learned it by creating thousands of pieces of content, by testing, by failing, by observing what works. That's specific knowledge. The mistake most people make is they follow the crowd. They get the same degrees everyone else has. They learn the same skills everyone else learns. They compete in the same markets. And then they wonder why they're not winning. It's because they're replaceable. But when you have specific knowledge, you become the only person who can do what you do. People seek you out. You can charge premium rates. You don't compete on price because there's no one else like you. And here's the beautiful part. You can't be taught specific knowledge in a classroom. You build it by following your curiosity, by going deep on what fascinates you, by combining skills in unique ways, by doing the thing that feels like play to you. Naval didn't become successful by doing what everyone else did. He became successful by developing knowledge that was uniquely his, knowledge that couldn't be replicated, knowledge that made him irreplaceable. So ask yourself, what's your specific knowledge? What do you know that other people don't? What are you naturally curious about? What would you do even if you weren't getting paid? That's where your wealth is hiding. All right, so now you understand the theory. Wealth comes from ownership. You need leverage to scale. You need specific knowledge to stand out. But theory without action is just entertainment. So let's talk about what you actually do. Starting today, step 1, audit your time. Right now, this week, look at your calendar. How are you spending your time? How many hours are you renting out? How many hours are you spending building something you own? Be honest. Most people spend 40, 50, 60 hours a week working for someone else, building someone else's dream, making someone else wealthy, and they spend 0 hours building their own assets. If that's you, you need to change the equation. You don't need to quit your job tomorrow, but you need to carve out time, even 2 hours a week. 2 hours where you're not trading time for money. 2 hours where you're building something that could eventually work without you. A side project, a piece of content, a skill, something. Because here's the truth. If you don't own your time, you don't own your life. And if you're spending 100% of your time renting it out, you'll never build wealth. So audit your time. Then protect at least a few hours every week for building. Step 2. Identify your specific knowledge. This is harder than it sounds because your specific knowledge feels obvious to you. It doesn't feel special, but it is. So ask yourself these questions. What do people come to you for advice about? What do you geek out on that other people find boring? What skills do you have that feel effortless to you, but hard for others? What would you do for free just because you love it? Write it down. Make a list. Don't overthink it. Just brain dump everything. Then look for patterns. Look for the intersection of things you're good at and things you're obsessed with. That's your edge. That's the thing you should be building around. Maybe you're great at explaining complex topics simply. That's specific knowledge. Maybe you understand a niche industry better than anyone. That's specific knowledge. Maybe you have a unique combination of skills. Marketing plus psychology. Design plus storytelling. Code plus finance. Those intersections are gold. Step 3. Choose your leverage. Now that you know your specific knowledge, how do you scale it? Can you build software? Then start coding. Even if it's small. Even if it's just automating something for yourself. Start building tools. Start thinking in systems. Can you create content? Then start writing. Start recording. Start sharing your specific knowledge. Build an audience. One person at a time. You don't need a million followers. You need people who trust you. People who value what you know. Can you build a product? Then start. Build a minimum viable version. Test it. Get feedback. Iterate. You don't need perfection. You need momentum. Here's what you don't need. Permission. You don't need a boss to approve your idea. You don't need investors to fund you. You don't need a degree to validate you. You just need to start. Naval didn't wait for someone to hand him wealth. He built leverage. He developed specific knowledge. He created assets. And you can do the same. The difference between people who build wealth and people who don't isn't talent. It's not luck. It's action. It's starting. It's building. It's refusing to rent out 100% of your time. So what are you going to build? What's the first step you're taking this week? Not next month. Not next year. This week. Because the best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time is right now. Let's bring this full circle. At the beginning of this video, I said most people think wealth is about luck. And now you know that's not true. Wealth is a skill. It's a game. And like any game, once you understand the rules, you can play it better than people who are just guessing. Naval Ravikant didn't get lucky. He understood the rules. He built specific knowledge that nobody else had. He used leverage to scale his efforts. He focused on building assets, not chasing money or status. And because of that, he created massive wealth. Not by working more hours, not by climbing a corporate ladder, but by playing a completely different game. And here's what makes this so powerful. You can do the same thing. You don't need his background. You don't need his connections. You don't need his starting point. You just need to understand the principles and apply them. Seek wealth, not money or status. Build assets that work while you sleep. Use leverage. Code and media are available to everyone. You don't need permission. You don't need capital. You just need a laptop and the willingness to learn. Develop specific knowledge. Stop competing in crowded markets doing the same thing everyone else does. Go deep on what fascinates you. Build the unique combination of skills and interests that only you have. Make yourself irreplaceable. And then take action. Audit your time. Protect hours every week for building. Identify your edge. Choose your leverage. Start building. Today. Not tomorrow. Not when conditions are perfect. Today. Because here's the reality. Most people will watch this video and do nothing. They'll nod along. They'll think it makes sense. And then they'll go back to renting out their time. Trading hours for dollars. Waiting for someone to give them permission to build wealth. And they'll wonder why nothing changes. But you're different. You're still here. You watched this entire video. That means something. That means you're serious. That means you're ready to play a different game. So here's my challenge to you. This week. Not next month. This week. Take one action. Just one. Audit your time. Write down your specific knowledge. Start a side project. Create one piece of content. Write 100 lines of code. Something. Anything. Just start. Because the gap between people who build wealth and people who don't isn't knowledge. It's action. It's momentum. It's the willingness to start before you're ready. To build before it's perfect. To take the first step even when you can't see the entire staircase. Naval's playbook is right here. It's not hidden. It's not secret. It's available to everyone. The question is, will you use it? Wealth isn't about luck. It's about leverage. It's about specific knowledge. It's about ownership. And it's about starting. So start. If this video gave you value, hit the like button. Subscribe for more breakdowns like this. And drop a comment telling me what you're going to build. I read every single one. Let's build wealth together. Thanks for watching. Now go create something.